One, two, three, three, two, one. Levels, levels.
That was impressive. Levels.
It's the maths.
I thought you were doing like a roadside sobriety thing because you got the bourbon out.
Just hoping it kills whatever's inside me.
The COVID, the hope, whatever. What?
Dreams.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
Are you, as long as we're talking, whatever, are you ready for the draft?
Which draft?
Ours? The late night league draft? The one that we've been doing for like 21 years?
Oh. Is it that time already?
Yep. Monday of Labor Day every year. Every year for the last 21 years. Monday afternoon of Labor Day. And somehow Torbert and Ebert managed to be busy every friggin' time. Yes.
Huh. Are you sure? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Season kicks off in a week. Amy's going to be at 3 games early. She's got the first 3 home games. So are you ready to go? Have you checked out the NFL?
Well, okay, shoot. Okay, NFL's starting, I guess, in a week, huh? All right. I better start doing some research on some NFL rosters then.
Yeah, I cut down day is today as we're recording.
Okay.
I haven't checked to see who the Bears cut loose. And I still have to figure out if the third wide receiver in Buffalo needs to be higher on my big board than the second running back in Dallas. All of this is really important.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You should figure that out. I mean, I hate to say this. I actually have no idea who the players are anymore. I'm really out of the NFL at this point. Can I ask you just what might be a stupid question?
Wouldn't be the first time on this podcast. Sure.
Yeah, good point. Is Dan Marino still the quarterback of the Dolphins? Or did he retire last year?
Are you thinking of Tom Brady and the Buccaneers?
No. Dan Marino. I mean, he's a really good quarterback. I'm just wondering if I should draft him.
A, you should. And B, this year, I think we should play for money. Hi, toddlers. Welcome to Talking to Todd. It's a weekly podcast with Dwayne Johnson and Todd Prince. Thanks for joining us. Hey, Todd.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. Pretty good. No, it's really not. It's really not going good at all.
I was going to say, hold on just a second. I'm playing one of my word games. It's quite a long word, and it starts with QU and ends with teen. Do you have any idea of a word that starts with QU and ends in teen?
No, I'm drawing a total blank.
Okay, well, you should just sit in your room until you figure that out. Give it another 2 to 3, maybe 4 days. Let me know what comes to mind.
That was nice.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh, travel is awesome. I love travel. Every time I go somewhere, I come home with new friends. Criminy. Anyway.
And you thought that the whole thing at Atlanta was going to be your biggest problem of that trip.
Yeah, yes.
Oh, that's cute. How cute was that?
Here I am, elbowing little old ladies out of the way. And that's, you know what that is? That's karma.
I was actually going to say,
karma.
I've heard about that. That's the new variant. Karma.
The karma variant.
Karma variant.
Nice. Yes. Yeah.
All right. Do we have any feedback follow-up updates?
Toddler 401k?
Yes. Hey, Danny.
Thanks to inspiration from your show, we now do a What Did You Learn This Week recap on Friday afternoons at my office.
Uh-oh.
Sweeping the nation, or,
Yeah.
or or at least sweeping the west side of Des Moines.
Well, somebody has to. Sorry. I don't even know what that means. I don't that's
They have several parades. You have to do
oh,
that
yeah.
at
Yeah.
the end of the
Yeah.
yes. Anyway,
That and all the presidential candidates that are coming through. Although that's more the east side. So don't worry about it. Okay. Okay, Danny, I hope that goes well for you.
speaking of the east side of Des Moines, also from Toddler 401k, you two perfectly summed up why I don't like the fair: manure and cotton candy. Yep.
I oh, I was thinking I was going to pick up an Iowa State Fair candle, which is that exact scent, and send it to Danny. But you know what? I guess we should look at something else for him.
I'm not sure he would appreciate
What?
that.
What is that? What? Could somebody light a candle? That is the candle.
Yeah,
Oh my god!
oh, let's see. This came in from Doug and the Educated Idiots. OJing it through the airport, which I believe I said last week.
Yeah, you dropped that super casually. Actually, yes.
Okay, so he gave me a four-part question. Is that A, allegedly murdering your ex-wife and her lover? B, holding someone hostage to steal back your Heisman Trophy? C, a reference to a commercial you have to be a minimum of 40 to get the reference? Or D, all of the above? Toddlers, I'll let you answer the question. What do you think I was doing in the Atlanta airport?
I was going to say what I'm really concerned about is if the next words out of Dwayne's mouth are on advice of counsel, I have been advised to not answer on the grounds that it may tend to incriminate me. This podcast will have taken a weird turn.
This is quite possibly the best feedback we've ever received. Oh my God. I laughed so hard. Thanks, Doug. Appreciate you. Just keep it going out there, man.
By the way, there's a in the big rules of all the different rules you have, somewhere in there, one of the rules needs to be any answer. If you ask a question and any answer starts with on advice of counsel, like you already know where. Or the flip side is if you were asked a question and you start with that, you're having a bad day. That's a sign of a bad day. Is anytime you have to use the phrase on advice of counsel.
It's like, you know how Gibbs on NCIS had rules,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Gibbs's rules. I've got a couple of those. I just refer to at random and
Yes.
assign them numbers.
Yes.
At work, people, rule number 5, simpler is better. That's something that I say regularly. Rule number 5, simpler is better. I don't know what rules number 1 through 4 are. Nobody seems to nobody asks.
You don't need no, because when you throw that out, you got to have a rule number 7. You don't need 1 through 6.
Nope, right? Or delivery vans.
There you go. Same principle.
Did you catch any feedback this week?
I did not. No.
Okay. How about some follow-up?
Yeah, a couple of months ago talked about there was a football match in Australia that eventually had to be stopped because fans stormed the pitch. And well, that happens seemingly a lot, especially in France. Somebody picked up a bucket of sand that was stored on the pitch, which is like, wait, why are you doing that? Oh, because of the flares people throw out. So the people throw the flares, so you put the bucket of sand out there. Then when they store in the field, they picked up the bucket of sand and threw it and hit the goalkeeper in the head, which led him to be bloodied and concussed.
Right. I remember. I remember this story. Yeah.
Or as the NFL calls it, just a little dinged. He's good for a couple more plays. Anyway. So that person, the person who threw the bucket of sand and hit the player, he was found guilty, yes, and sentenced to 3 months in prison by a magistrate. And he's also banned from attending any event at the stadium for 5 years. He is also ordered to undergo random drug testing for 18 months following his release. Now, he is also released on bail pending an appeal. However, so anyway, 3 months in prison and 5 years stay out of the stadium. That is more, however, than his lawyer wanted. His lawyer actually argued against any prison time, saying, first of all, that he was a drug addict at the time and he feels bad about it. And, quote, he will forever be known as Bucket Man and will have to work hard to overcome that. I killed my parents, but I'm an orphan, so please.
Sorry,
Yes.
Steve Bartman would like a word.
I didn't do anything. Yeah.
I'm just here.
Yeah. And then the other one I had, we keep talking about in this spot, we're talking about sports announcers. I was listening to an English football match this weekend, and they went into stoppage time, and there was going to be 7 or 8 minutes. And there was a lot of there was a guy rolling around on the ground who hadn't been touched, and there was a lot of anyway. At one point, the announcer says, "Well, 5 minutes have been played," and I say out loud to nobody because I'm by myself. I just said, "Actually, 5 minutes have elapsed." 5 minutes have elapsed. 30 seconds has been played. Bob, let's just get this clear. So anyway, yes, there's a difference between playing it. In that case, if you wanted to go run for an hour, you just start the timer, you run for 30 seconds, and then just sit and eat donuts. Well, I've been running for an hour. Have you? Well, okay. Anyway, English football, it's fantastic. Any other follow-up from you?
Amy sent me an actually.
Uh-oh.
She was listening. She was listening to the Hogan Johns podcast, and they were talking about the third quarterback.
Oh, they brought that rule back. Yes.
Yes. And Hogan Johns said something about how they'll have that third quarterback on their 53-man roster. And she goes, actually, because the three of us had a text conversation about it. And we know that that's not how the rule works. That they won't just be able to grab somebody from the practice squad. They have to actually put them on the 53-man roster, but they don't have to activate them onto the 46-man roster for the game day, all of which, toddlers, I'm sorry, that got a little too detailed for anything. Anyway.
Just thing to note, the third quarterback rule is back, and they've changed it, and I don't know. They keep messing with it, and they haven't fixed it.
Nope.
By the way, Lisa loves to tell a story about 10 years ago. She was in a room with some people, and they were all talking NFL stuff. And of course, Lisa's in here or whatever. And somebody made a comment. This is when the old third quarterback rule was in place, where you could have them, but you couldn't bring them in before the fourth quarter unless both quarterbacks weren't available, and if they came in before the fourth quarter, then the other two couldn't re-enter the game or whatever. Right. Anyway, it was like on a Tuesday, and these guys were like, well, I don't understand why they brought him. I mean, when that guy got patched up, they should have. And she basically said, well, actually, the rule states that because he came in before the fourth quarter, once he entered the game, then even though they were available, the rule states that the two quarterbacks weren't able to come back in, so he had to finish the game because that's the rule, and the coach didn't have any choice in the matter. And she said these three guys stopped and looked at her like, wait, she understands the third quarterback rule in the NFL? She just casually dropped and explained to them why they were wrong in analyzing what the coach of their favorite team had done.
Just drop the mic and walk away. That away, Lisa.
which leads to you don't have to know everything, but if you know a little bit about a lot, if you get a chance, you can drop something in. And from now then on, I'm sure everybody was like, I don't know, I don't even understand what that rule is. Maybe we should call Lisa. She seems to know all the NFL rules, because if she knows the third quarterback rule, what else does she know? Because nobody would learn just that.
No, right, yes. Oh, can we do Todd's Tech Corner as presented by the Taylor Center for Technology Policy?
Sure. As of today, as we recorded, Apple announced that they were, shockingly, they're going to have an event in mid to early September. It'll be on September 12th. Rumors state, I can confidently state that rumors and sources close to talking to Todd believe it's possible that new iPhones may be announced at that event.
Could you hedge that bet any further?
Well, nobody's for sure, but it's also possible that this might be called iPhone 15. I don't know. I'm just anyway. So September 12th, the new iPhones will be announced. Potentially new Apple Watches will also be announced. That's what the rumors say. And if they do the announcement on the 12th, what that would mean is pre-orders would probably start on the 15th if you want to get in line to, get in the virtual line to order them. The new iOS 17 will come out probably the week of the 18th, so we can upgrade our phones or not. And shipments of those phones will start arriving on September 22nd if you're so inclined to get a new phone.
But I just got a new phone.
Yeah, no, that one's crap now. You got to get a new one. Yeah, Apple says.
But
This one's fine. Nope.
But no.
I mean, you can. I mean, if you want to keep it, that's fine. I mean, it's just, is yours not titanium? Oh my goodness, you have a non-titanium phone? Who are you? Well, it might as well be a flip phone.
I've been getting served up this company that takes apart old phones and then mounts them and frames them and
Oh,
puts little lines like to describe which piece of what is. And you
okay.
can get for your collection an original iPhone that you can hang on your wall that's been disassembled and then mounted and framed and labeled.
Okay, so I'm of two minds. One, that's kind of cool to see all of it, right?
Right? I'm
How
like,
cool is
oh,
that?
this is really awesome.
I mean, that's really awesome. On the flip side, that's kind of like taking a frog apart and putting all of its pieces on the wall and saying, look at the art. Like, I mean, it's cool, but is it?
Thank you, Mr. Bolts. Yes, I
Yeah.
would like to take apart a frog or a cat.
Yeah. I don't.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. That's why they charge so much, because you don't have to do the work. What do you think this thing is? I don't know. Get the expert. They've got the labeler. Anyway, so as we enter September, new phone talk. We'll be talking about new phones, and we're talking about the iOS, the phone upgrades coming. So there we go.
Cool.
Yeah, new phones every year. I'm gonna guess it's gonna have a screen. It's gonna
Can I make calls on it?
that the rumors are not clear yet. Yeah. You can absolutely you can use it to give more money to Apple. Now, whether you can make a call on it, I don't know. Yes. So, yeah. Anyway, there will be more segments for the Taylor Center for Technology Policy in the future.
Excellent. I'm sure they'll appreciate that.
Yes. To maximize their sponsorship dollars.
Dollar. Sponsorship dollar. Okay. So on Saturday. Yeah, Saturday morning, I played golf with Dave Ball.
Okay.
So Dave, if you're listening, we may have picked up a new listener. He wanted to know how to find us. I told him just search for my name, because talking to Todd, no G, no space, you can't find it, as we have been told. Anyway,
but if you search the internet for Dewayne Johnson, our podcast will be the first thing you find.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good advice.
Yeah. Whatever. Anywho. Yeah. So the guys were asking me, Dave and the two guys that I normally golf with, Mike and Gary, they were asking me about the podcast and what do we talk about. And I talked about one of the recurring segments that we do every week is where we come up with a question to ask the other person. It generally has to do with guessing something. And it's, intended to stump the other person, right?
Yeah, I mean that's a polite way of saying make him look stupid. But you know what? We'll go with stump the other person. Yes.
It's not fair to deny me all the cross I bear. I check it to me. You ought to know.
So they started making suggestions for this week's Todd Oughta Know.
Oh. Thanks, guys.
And one of the early suggestions was, when was the first iPhone released? I'm like, no, that's not going to work. Because I said, do you want to know when it was announced or when it was actually released? Because it was announced in May, but it wasn't actually released until October. And they're like, wow, how do you know that? I'm like, sorry, I'm a geek and I hang around Todd a lot.
Actually, it was announced in January at Macworld, and it was released at the end of June in 2027. So,
Actually,
but do I get a bell? Do I get a bell? No, that wasn't it.
No, that wasn't it. But I sounded confident when I said it, so I could get hired at Todd's tours.
A clipboard and a wave will get you into any building in the country.
Thanks, Randy. So anyway, one of the other suggestions, because it wasn't about the iPhone, the original iPhone, which I knew you would know the answer to. And the title that I put in the rundown was A Whale of a Story.
Yep.
Do you know the average size of the largest mammal on Earth, the blue whale?
The average size.
Yes.
I mean, the one that's in all the textbooks says that they can grow up to 100 feet long.
Up to.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
So if that's sort of maximum size, average, I don't.
So,
are we going for length, weight, volume,
really,
water displacement?
The question, the answer that Michael proposed was,
Yes.
what's the average weight
of
a full-grown average blue whale?
Unladen or laden?
You got two coconuts and you're banging them together.
Okay.
It's not about how he grips it.
Okay. Sorry. So
it's a fantastic accent there for me. Hope you enjoyed that.
Okay, the weight of a full-grown
blue whale. Plus or minus, I'll give you 10%.
Okay, so we know that the weight of an object submerged in water is equal to the weight of the water displaced. Because we
stalling.
Well, and that was a callback to that was a callback to our education in Iowa Falls.
Eureka!
I know what that means. I know those words. I don't know how that helps me right now. But if I knew if I knew the weight of the water that was displaced by the blue whale, then I would know the weight of the whale. But they were never clear on how to get the weight of the water displaced. Anyway, okay.
And we're not talking about pygmy blue whales. We're talking about full-size blue whales.
And
females are larger than males.
Okay.
If that matters, which it doesn't.
No. The problem is I can picture a blue whale in my mind.
Yes.
I can see what it looks like.
Yes.
Having being a scuba diver and having seen things that are 3 to 5 feet long swimming near me, the thought of seeing something 100 feet long anywhere near me is it is both enticing, like, oh, that'd be really cool, and oh my goodness, because the 3 foot long thing near me was kind of intimidating 100 feet. So, okay. We're going to say, I'm just doing some math here. Does that sound right? That doesn't sound right. That looks too big. 100,000 pounds.
Double that.
Oh, I was off by a Dewayne. Damn
You
it.
were- you were off by a full Dewayne. The blue whale males average 195,000 pounds. The females 220,000 pounds.
That's a big mammal.
That is a big, big mammal fed on krill. Oh, look, krill.
Great big mammal. Tiny little food source.
No bell for you this week, but thanks to Michael Westfall for the contribution, and Dave Ball is a new listener. So building that audience one listener at a time. Woohoo!
Yeah. Sorry, I'm like, wait, 200,000 pounds. That's a
I know, right? I thought about it for the next 3 holes. I'm like, how in the world do I wrap my mind around this? It's huge. It's a third the length of a football field, and just massive mammals. And they live between 80 and 90 years. From the source of all truth and knowledge, Wikipedia.
I got to start studying for this segment more. I just don't know how.
I'll give you an opportunity to, because that was kind of Todd guess a number as opposed to Todd I don't know. This is a more random kind of thing.
In the water. They live in the water. No.
They do.
I was going to see if you're okay, yeah.
Do you know how they measure how they figure out how old? I said they live from 80 to 90 years. Do you know how they figure out how old a blue whale is?
Ask them if they remember when Truman was around. Or ask them if hey, do you remember when the Browns were good? That's what, 80, 90 years? Yeah.
If Foratano is listening, he is going to take issue with that.
No, I don't know how they know. No.
They, much like a tree's rings, they measure the layers of earwax. There's a darker layer and a lighter layer that build on top of each other, a dark layer and a light layer of earwax every year. And the Q-tips to clean out a whale's ear are really hard to come by. So the wax just builds up over and over and over. And then they measure the depth of the earwax by the layers in it to figure out how old a whale is.
Kevin, am I being punked right now? Kevin, this is starting to sound like I'm being punked.
Source of all truth and knowledge. Are you ready to move on?
One last thing. My thought would be, I mean,
yes.
I don't know who draws the short Q-tip on that one, but you're getting in the water and you're like, become a marine biologist. They said, it'll be awesome. You said, get to study animals. And they said, hey, go swim up to that 200,000 pound, 100-foot long animal and go, do you mind if I just check your ears? Step 1, where's the ears? All right. We should move on.
We should move on. Though, you know, there's somebody in our listening audience that probably knows this, because At one point in her college career, she took anatomy of whales. So we'll find out. Okay, time to move on.
But that was a weird prereq. I'm just going to say that was a very weird prereq.
Gotta have a science class. Just checking the box.
It's what was available. I missed my registration window. This is what's available to keep me on course to graduate in 4 years.
That's pretty much what happened. Well, that segment was pretty idiotic. Do you think we can top it in the Scott Frost Memorial Idiot of the Week?
Oh yeah. I think
Okay.
so.
Okay. What do you got?
So under mine, I'm just going to call it "Kiss Him Goodbye."
Okay.
I don't know if you've been following this, but last week we talked about the Women's World Cup and being up at 4 a.m. and watching Spain win.
Oops.
As a part of the celebration, the president of the Spanish Federation grabbed one of the players as she was coming through the handshake line and grabbed her sort of by the and it just planted a full-on kiss right on her mouth. And everybody was like, "What? That didn't look right." And since then, this thing is kind of taking on a life of its own. Originally, the player, when asked immediately about it, the player was like, it's not a problem. It's not a thing. Because, like, literally, we just won the World Cup.
It was really weird, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. Afterwards, however, then it was like, then the Federation said, "Oh, yeah, no, that was fine," because people were asking the Federation, "Hey, your president just kissed one of your players." And the Federation said, "Oh, no. She gave consent, so it was fine." At which point she said, "No, I didn't. That's a lie." And then things started to escalate. And man, has this escalated. So Luis, who is the president of the Federation, who did this, again, he's head of the Spanish Football Federation. And so the Federation works for him. So the Federation said, "Oh, she gave consent." She said, "No, they're lying." And all 23 members of the World Cup team then signed a statement that said that as long as he's president of the Football Association, they will not play for Spain. Now, yes.
And I heard that number is up to 80 as of this morning.
Yes, because another 50 players who haven't been selected yet have signed that document. Now, this is also interesting because 18 months ago, 15 players who were on the national team complained about how they were being treated and how their practice facilities were crap, and they were basically said the Spanish Football Federation is treating us terribly and we're not going to play for you unless you fix these things. The Spanish Federation and the coach for the women's team said, "Okay." And so 12 of the 15 were left off of the World Cup roster. So they were punished for complaining about the conditions. 3 of them made it. Anyway, so now the entire team and basically all of the women who might be selected have all said, we're not going to do this. In response, the Spanish Football Federation looked at that and went, "I know it would be a proportional response." They threatened in the media that they were going to sue the player for defamation when she said that she didn't give consent. So they're going to sue her. And they said that any woman football player in Spain who is called up to the national team has an obligation to play for the team. And so therefore they can't say no if selected. Again, we got some real problems with what consent means in the Spanish Football Federation. No, you can, yeah.
But what?
Yes. Then so that's one spiral. Then it spirals again because a bunch of people are calling for this guy to step down, and he's doubling down on his doubling down. So the sports minister in Spain, because most governments have a sports minister, basically have said that they're going to try to remove him from being the head of the Spanish Football Association, as has the group that oversees athletic groups in general in Spain. Anyway, the government has stepped in and said, yeah, this guy probably has to go. As soon as that happened, the Spanish Football Federation, again, on orders from Luis, petitioned UEFA, the European Football Association. The Spanish Federation asked UEFA to suspend them from UEFA because UEFA's rules say that any team that has undue government influence is not allowed to participate in UEFA competitions. And they said, hey, our government's trying to mess with us. So according to UEFA rules, we should be suspended. So please suspend us. Okay, what does that mean? Well, UEFA oversees men's and women's football. So what that would mean is UEFA does the Champions League, which I don't know if you know, but that's where all the money is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Spanish Federation was asking UEFA to suspend Real Madrid and Barcelona, two of the largest teams in the world, to basically suspend them from being able to play in the Champions League until the government backed down. UEFA said, nah, we're not going to do that. So this guy, because he kissed a player against her will to quote unquote celebrate a World Cup win, wanted Real Madrid and Barcelona kicked out of the Champions League to protect his job because he thought, again, allegedly, because it was the Federation, not him, but he runs the Federation, he thought that if he got Real Madrid and Barcelona kicked out of the Champions League, that all of Spain will rally to his defense. They're not. UEFA's not. Nobody's coming to this guy's defense. This guy has proven, forget the kissing now. The way that he has responded to this has proved that, again, I actually told Lisa, I'm like, how do complete morons and jackasses like this guy get in charge of national federations?
And it happens all the time. One of my pet peeves is people being offended on behalf of other people.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That's, if I was offended, I will say I was offended.
That came out of a good place, which is there are people who can't express that they have been wronged because the power dynamic is weird.
Yes.
And so people with power should help them.
Yes.
And that still is a valuable place at some point, but that's gotten out of control.
Yes. Dude, call it a day. Retire. Move on. This is not a battle you are going to win because, oh my God, this guy, he absolutely wins idiot of the world this week.
And again, I mean, to your point, shouldn't have done that, made a mistake. Should probably maybe cost his job. If he is contrite, he's like, wow, should have happened. Maybe he suspends himself for 6 months or a year, goes away, says it will never happen again, or like
Jim Harbaugh? No, sorry. Go ahead.
There's ways of saying, oh, that was wrong. I crossed a line. I will do better.
Yep.
And you could survive this.
Probably, yes.
Maybe.
Yes.
Whether you should or not, I don't know, but you could.
Know. But yes, I think you probably could.
But given a week later, and you're still doubling down, like, well, you're bankrupt, sir. Double down. Bankrupt again. Hit me again. Like, dude, this is the part where it goes from from ridiculously terrible to ridiculously terrible, because with the light of day and away from all of this, he's like, yeah, I've thought about it. I'm still in the right. I'm in charge. Whatever I say goes. Let's do this. Anyway, it's stories like that make me miss the simple times when it was just Scott Frost making like $12 million a year to win like 12 games over like 17 years or whatever. I miss Scott. I miss those. Anyway, yes, there you go. Congratulations, Luis. You're an idiot. How about you? What do you got?
Well, they're actually calling this Spain's Me Too movement.
Okay.
This was actually the story that I brought as well.
Really?
Because there's no bigger idiot than this guy this week. Nothing else compares. So this guy wins. This was the story I brought as well. So yeah.
I mean, at this point, I would love an update on the Brett Favre story to talk about how he literally took dollar bills out of orphans' pockets to hand to the university. That would even
for
seem
volleyball players.
for volley.
We
Yes,
really need a Brett Favre update. We haven't done a Brett Favre update in a long time. I wonder where that story is.
I haven't wanted to do one, and this one I feel like we need to do that. It's just a palate cleanser.
No, we normally do a feel good palate cleanser. There's nothing feel good about. Well,
No, and
no,
the least,
no,
not.
no.
You heard the word feel. Don't do that.
Don't go there. No, nope. Sorry, inappropriate. Okay.
Yes.
What are you watching?
So Lisa's traveling. She's back in Alaska this week. So I've been watching English football.
Cool.
And Sunday was English football and Formula One parade and more English football and
one parade. Yes, you're not wrong.
no, and then NASCAR, which was the last race before they go into the playoffs, which also marks their playoffs coincide with the NFL. So Lisa points out every year we pay attention to NASCAR right until they get to the playoffs, and then it's like NAS-what? I don't know, football's on. That race came down to in the last 10 laps, there were people racing to get into the playoffs and who was going to win. And there was, by the way, there was a massive wreck. The car barrel rolled 10 times.
Really?
And multiples of those where the car wasn't touching the ground at all while it was rotating. Like it was a very, oh my goodness.
Like pre-flaps.
Yeah. It caught the car in a direction that it's not. It caught it in a direction that the car isn't designed to shed all the air load, and it looked really bad. And all the commentators were like, 20 years ago, that was just a Sunday. And we've made the cars much safer, and they don't do that. So when they do that, you forget that these are 3,500-pound cars doing 200 miles an hour, racing 40 of them racing next to each other. And when stuff goes wrong, it goes wrong quick and in a big, big way. And you kind of forget that until that happens. So that's racing. And the Formula One parade. I mean, yeah, there was the weather, and I'm pretty sure, by the way, I'm just going to say this, I'm pretty sure that you and I could do a better job as race strategists than at least 6 of the race strategists that are currently working in Formula One. There are people who are working in those teams who don't understand racing, Formula One, tires, radar, drivers, strategy, pit stops, physics, and clocks. Anyway, God, they're bad at their jobs. Anyway, what are you watching?
Chuck with a DNF, but okay, fine, whatever. How'd Chuck do this? Never mind. Damn it.
I think that's his new name. Charles DNF.
Saturday night, we watched Craig Ferguson. Craig came to town on his Crafty Rascal tour.
Okay.
Played Hoyt Sherman.
Yep.
He went for more than 2 hours. He was like 40 minutes over what his regular set was. He just went on and on and on. I love Craig Ferguson. He was the best late night talk show host ever. He was better than Dave. Sorry, I know you're a David Letterman fan. He was better than Dave. He's different. It's different.
I was going to say, I think he was certainly different. And after he got comfortable at that show, I mean, right at the end of the show, I'm just going to put my feet up.
Yep.
What did we learn tonight?
What did we learn on the show tonight, Craig? It's why we do What Did We Learn This Week? Our show is Craig's show. It's feedback. It's tweets and emails. Sometimes we have a guest. Our show is Craig's show. I don't know if you've noticed this. That's what we do.
Kevin. Okay, listen, I'm going to need you to go get a full-size costume that 2 people fit in of a horse. And I need.
da 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 da.
Yeah.
Jeff Peterson, my
no.
robot skeleton pal.
Yeah. I'm just going to be real clear here. When you edit this, I need you to fix that. You can't say that this podcast is Craig's show, because if it is, he's entitled to royalties. Now, are there any? No, but he could take the rest of our stickers. So it might be an homage.
Yes, it's a tribute to.
Yes, it's in the style. Yes, it's a
Yes.
tribute to. It's an
Yes.
homage to Craig.
Yes.
No, Kevin, no, you don't have to go live with Craig. No, we'll take care of it, buddy. We'll take care of it. Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Because Craig had interns too, and he put them in the horse.
Yes.
Sorry, Kevin. Anyway, so we saw Craig Ferguson at Hoyt Sherman. He started out starting to tell his wife's favorite joke. I'm going to tell my wife's favorite joke. 2 hours later, he finally tells his wife's favorite joke. He finally circled back around to it. It's one of these really, really long, and he touched on everything in between.
So technically, he only told one joke.
Exactly, the entire night.
Yeah, just took the entire. Yeah,
which is his wife's favorite. Do you know what a Scotsman wears under his kilt?
No.
On a good day, lipstick.
Oh, jeez.
That's Craig's wife's favorite joke.
How do you put the explicit tag on the Apple podcast?
That is a clean joke. It is absolutely clean.
There isn't a single dirty word in that.
There is not. It is not dirty at all. He was friggin' hilarious. Oh my God. I miss Craig Ferguson so much. Oh, did you learn anything?
Yeah. So this weekend we got some sad news. Bob Barker passed away at 99. I learned two things. One, Bob Barker passed away at 99. Number two, Bob Barker was still alive. I could have sworn he passed away at least 10 years ago. Wait, what?
The best tweet I saw on this, closest to 100 without going over. Bob Barker. He won the Ultimate Showcase Showdown. Closest to 100 without going over. Yep.
How about you? What did you learn this week?
I went to San Antonio last week and brought back a friend with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hence the quarantine commentary at the top of the show. I wasn't feeling great, but I'm like, maybe it's just a cold. Maybe it's just, I don't know, whatever. And then I got on the phone this morning with one of my colleagues that was with me in San Diego. And they're like, oh, so-and-so's got COVID and so-and-so's got COVID. And I'm like, well, the first person I barely saw, but the second person I spent a whole lot of time with, I probably ought to go test myself. So I went over to the closet where I've got 4 COVID tests sitting there because, 2023, and grabbed it, opened it up, looked at the expiration date, and it said January of 2023 and went, meh, whatever. Tested myself, and it turned positive in about 15 seconds. Boom! Probably got COVID. Okay, great. Fantastic. Called the clinic. Talked to the clinic lady, and she said, the test was expired? Yeah. Back in January. Really? Yeah. You probably ought to go get yourself another test just to make sure. Great. So I went to the Medicap pharmacy. Thank you, Medicap. They had them handy. I rode my e-bike over to the Medicap and back because it's close and I didn't have to pedal. I just...
yeah.
Right. But I felt like I needed some fresh air after.
And now you can use your HSA money to pay for the bike.
Ooh, nice.
You're
welcome.
Like, don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't do that. Ran over to Medicap, got the new test. that is not expired tested positive in about 15 seconds. Yep. So I'm now quarantining, just kind of living the dream here in Norwalk, quarantining until I feel like coming back out again. Anyway, this week I learned that I got COVID.
Again.
Music is Happy Boy by Kevin MacLeod. You can subscribe to our award-winning podcast with visiting scholar Todd Prinz wherever you get your pods. Just search Talkin' and the number 2. There's no G and no space. You can check out our award-winning merch on Zazzle. You can stop by and see us at the Tuba City home office. We should probably explain that joke at some point.
It's in the back catalog.
I don't remember.
It's all there. It's all there if you put the pieces together. I would recommend a crazy board and yarn and
Please don't do that either.
I was actually I was going to say, hey, everybody send in your crazy boards with yarn to explain that one. And the best one will get a sticker.
Thanks to our listeners. Thanks to our listeners and our sponsors and those who send feedback. Sponsors Toddler 3187, who we haven't heard from in several weeks, the Taylor Center for Technology Policy, and DJ to Go Cedar Valley, your 5-star DJ in the Cedar Valley.
Hey, speaking of feedback.
Yes.
Quick request out to all the toddlers.
Okay.
So we're going to be recording a couple more of the episodes where Dewayne and I just kind of answer some questions. We did this when I was on a trip, and we've got some questions we're going to come up with. There's some more coming up later this year. However, if you have questions that you would like both of us to answer on an upcoming episode, you can text them to us. You can use all the feedback mechanisms. You can email at feedback@talkingtotodd. Your question may, and I stress may,
not April, not February, May.
What I was going to say was, your question may be used, and I'm looking at you, Doug. Doug, the question may be used. This is not
you, Doug.
This is not making promises. Anyway, we will have questions, but if there's questions that you would like us to answer in an upcoming episode, you know, again, we were talking about what's the worst trip you've been on? Any of those kind of things. We're looking for additional questions. So send those to the feedback as well, and we will start. We've got a couple of those episodes to record. So just throwing that out there right now.
Excellent. Crowdsourced content. Love it.
Yes.
Cool. Cool. Where were we? Todd?
There you go. Rule number 5. Don't waste good. Rule number 7. Always be specific when you lie. Rule number 9. Never take anything for granted. And rule number 13 from Gibbs's rules, according to all sorts of stuff, never involve lawyers. He's got a point.
He does have a point.
He's on advice of counsel. I'm not allowed to say whether I agree with that or not.
Gibbs's rules were awesome. Nice callback. Good work. We'll be back next week. We'll clean up anything that we messed up. Hopefully nothing. We'll be back. We're here. We're talking to Todd. You know how when they got towards the end of the series in Cheers, they started playing a shorter and shorter version of the opening song. They didn't,
Oh, yeah.
right? Like in the first couple of seasons, they played the entire song for the opening. And then when you got towards the end,
Sometimes, and we're in.
and here we are, right?
Yeah.
So people know Happy Boy by Kevin MacLeod. So I've just started playing the quick version at the beginning. Let's just get to the show, right? People know what they're getting to. Just we're getting the short version of the theme from now on. I don't know that means we're getting to the end of talking to Todd, but we're certainly getting to the short version of the theme.
I mean, that makes sense. The downside is there are weeks where is about the best part of the show. So let's be careful about what we're cutting out here.
You're not wrong.